Respected ladies and gentlemen, let's get one thing straight. You weren't born to be average. You weren't created to blend in, to play small, or to live life stuck in the middle. Deep down you feel it, that fire, that pull towards something greater. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. You're not here to exist. You're here to dominate, to become the top 1%. But make no mistake, being the top 1% isn't about money, fame, or flashy titles. It's about standard. It's about waking up every single day with a mindset that refuses to settle. It's about doing what others don't feel like doing. It's about chasing mastery when others chase comfort. The top 1% aren't lucky, they're focused. They're intentional. They are built, not born. Everyone wants to win, but very few are willing to pay the price. The late nights, the early mornings, the quiet sacrifices no one sees, the missed parties, the uncomfortable growth, the relentless self-discipline. That's the price of greatness. That's the difference between the crowd and the committed. The top 1% don't wait for permission. They create opportunity. They build themselves brick by brick, day by day, with unshakable purpose. And let's be honest, this world isn't short on talent, it's short on commitment. It's short on grit. But the moment you decide to stop making excuses and start taking full responsibility for your life, the game changes. You shift from surviving to thriving, from average to elite, from background noise to front page. This isn't about ego. It's about elevation. Because when you rise, you inspire others to rise too. When you become the example, you spark the movement. The top 1% don't just succeed, they lead. They light the path for others to follow. And the truth is, that could be you. So if you're ready to stop settling and start climbing, if you're done with just existing and you're ready to excel, then lock in. The climb won't be easy, but the view from the top, it's worth everything. Welcome to the pursuit of the top 1%. Let's get to work. Mastery is not a gift. It's not something you stumble into. It's not luck. It's not something reserved for the few. Mastery is a choice, a discipline, a daily decision to rise above average thinking and commit to the uncommon path. Mediocrity is easy. It's comfortable. It gives you just enough success to keep you from feeling like a failure. It whispers, "You're doing fine," while secretly robbing you of your full potential. That's what mediocrity does. It settles. It makes excuses. It claps for average. But if you're aiming to be in the top 1%, you can't live there. You can't flirt with mediocrity and expect to birth mastery. It doesn't work like that. The top 1% don't dabble. They obsess. They go all in. They don't just work hard, they work smart and consistent. They don't study the game casually. They study it until it becomes a part of who they are. They break it down, analyze it, and rebuild it with precision. They're not looking for applause, they're chasing alignment. They don't care about looking good today if it costs them excellence tomorrow. Ask yourself, what are you doing repeatedly? Because your repetition is revealing your direction. If you repeat procrastination, that's what you master. If you repeat excuses, that's what you become excellent at. But if you repeat discipline, focus, and execution, you don't just get better, you become dangerous. The top 1% don't just train their skill, they train their standards. When most people ask, "Is this good enough?" the elite ask, "How can I make this world class?" That's the mindset shift. Most people stop when they're tired. The top 1% stop when the job is done. They don't count hours, they count results. They don't wait for motivation, they rely on commitment. Because mastery is not about speed, it's about depth. It's not about popularity, it's about precision. It's not about being noticed, it's about becoming undeniable. And let's get one thing straight. Mastery doesn't happen in the spotlight. It's forged in the dark. It's built in the unseen hours, when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when no one's validating. That's where champions are built. That's where the top 1% are born, not on the stage, but in the silence. Not when it's convenient, but when it's necessary. If you want to be elite, you have to stop chasing moments and start building momentum. You have to stop looking for comfort and start seeking challenge. Every repetition matters. Every detail counts. Every moment you slack is a moment someone else sharpens. And the gap between average and elite, it's built on those small decisions, those micro choices that seem insignificant but shape your entire future. Mastery doesn't ask, do you feel like it? It demands, will you show up anyway? That's the difference. That's the separation. That's what makes you unstoppable. Because when you obsess over the craft begins to reward you. When you pour in excellence, it pours back opportunity, but only for those who are willing to bleed for it in private. So stop comparing yourself to others and start comparing yourself to your potential. Stop aiming for just better than them and start aiming for the version of you that hasn't been born yet. That version, that's the top 1%. That's the one hiding behind discipline, behind effort, behind discomfort, behind that next level of commitment you've been avoiding. Don't be casual with your calling. Don't be passive with your purpose. Be obsessed, be focused, be relentless, because the people who change the world aren't the ones who kind of want it. It's the ones who can't sleep without it, the ones who wake up thinking about it and go to bed dreaming about it, the ones who turn down distractions and tune in to development, the ones who sacrifice the temporary for the eternal. That's the difference. That's the mindset of the 1%. So ask yourself today, are you chasing mastery or are you settling for mediocrity? Because you can't have both. One leads to greatness, the other leads to regret. And the choice is always yours. The truth is simple. If you want a life that stands out, you have to live a life that's different. You cannot move like the crowd and expect to be uncommon. You can't follow the majority and expect elite results. The top 1% didn't get there by doing what everyone else does. They got there by doing what everyone else. Most people quit when it gets hard. Most people take the easy route, the shortcut, the compromise. They want the rewards but not the work. They want the success but not the sacrifice. They say they want to win, but their actions scream comfort. And comfort is the silent killer of potential. The ones who rise are the ones who grind when no one is watching. They wake up when others are sleeping. They study while others party. They're building when others are scrolling. They're pushing when others are relaxing. It's not because they're superhuman. It's because they've made a decision. A decision that average will never be enough. Do what others won't. That means showing up when you're tired. That means saying no when everyone around you says yes. That means protecting your vision like your life depends on it, because it does. It means working in silence, growing in the shadows, and letting results speak when the time is right. It means staying in the gym longer, writing that extra page, making that extra call, taking that next step, even when no one's watching, even when no one claps, even when it hurts. Because there will be days when it feels like no one sees your effort. Days when you feel invisible. Days when progress is slow and doubt gets loud. But that's the moment where greatness is formed. That's where the separation happens. That's where most people tap out and you tap in. That's where you remind yourself, I'm not like the rest. I'm built for more. People will call you crazy for the things you're willing to do. They'll question your intensity, your focus, your obsession. Let them. Because the same people who laughed at your grind will one day envy your results. You don't owe them an explanation. You owe yourself execution. Discipline now for freedom later. Sacrifice now for impact later. While they chase weekends, you're chasing purpose. While they seek applause, you're building legacy. Because success doesn't reward the comfortable, it rewards the committed. You want the cars, the house, the peace, the power, the ability to take care of your family without checking the price tag? Good. But understand this, you will never experience extraordinary by doing the ordinary. This world is flooded with talent, but starving for grit. There are millions of people with potential, but very few with consistency. You won't be remembered for what you said you were going to do. You'll be remembered for what you kept doing when it wasn't easy. That's where the rare ones are made. That's the foundation of the 1%. Every time you choose the grind over the excuse, you move one step closer. Every time you stay late, show up early, outwork the doubt, you take territory. Every time you do what others won't, you earn a life they can only dream about. Not because you're better, but because you're willing. Willing to suffer for something greater. Willing to sacrifice temporary pleasure for long-term peace. Willing to keep showing up when everyone else is slowing down. That's not just a mindset, that's a lifestyle. That's the code of the uncommon. That's how the top 1% are built. So ask yourself daily, what am I doing that the average person refuses to do? What level of discipline do I bring when nobody's watching? What excuses am I still making that need to die today? Because at the end of the day, this life will give you exactly what you're willing to demand from it. Not with your mouth, but with your movement. Not with your hopes, but with your habits. The grind is not optional. The struggle is not avoidable. The work is not glamorous, but the reward, that's freedom. That's legacy. That's impact. And that's worth everything. Do what others won't. Live how others can't. Discipline doesn't shout. It doesn't show off. It doesn't seek validation. It moves in silence. It builds in the dark. It's not flashy. It's foundational. It's the quiet force that separates the talkers from the doers. It's the difference between those who dream and those who deliver. Everyone wants the results, but few are willing to live by the rules that bring them. The world is full of people with talent, ideas, and ambition. But it's discipline that turns that raw potential into real power. It's not how you feel that determines your future, it's how you act when you don't feel like it. That's where greatness is born. Discipline doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for motivation. It doesn't care if the mood is right. It just shows up again and again and again. When others hit snooze, discipline is already working. When others scroll for dopamine, discipline is locked in. When others are distracted, discipline is focused. That's why the disciplined win. Not because they're lucky, not because they're gifted, because they refuse to break their standard. You see, the elite don't rise by chance. They rise by choice. They've chosen to trade comfort for consistency. They've chosen pain today so they can walk in purpose tomorrow. They've chosen repetition, routine, and relentless execution every single day. Not once in a while, not when it's convenient, every single day. Discipline is doing the reps when no one's cheering. It's sticking to the plan when the hype has died. It's executing the routine even when results feel far away. And that's the hardest part. Because there will be seasons where you won't see the fruit of your labor. You'll question if it's working. You'll wonder if it's worth it. But those who stay disciplined in the dark, they shine the brightest in the light. Most people want intensity, the quick fix, the fast reward. But real success, it's not built in spurts. It's built in consistency. It's not one perfect day, it's 1,000 solid ones. And those days don't come from excitement, they come from discipline. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. The more disciplined you are, the more control you have over your time, over your mind, over your life. The undisciplined are always reacting, pulled in every direction by emotion and distraction. But the disciplined, they lead their day, they own their energy, they command their habits. You want to change your life? Don't start with some grand plan. Start by waking up on time. Start by doing what you said you would do. Start by showing up every day. The little things, done with discipline, turn into the big things you've been dreaming about. And let's be real, discipline isn't glamorous. It won't always feel good. It won't always be exciting. It will stretch you, it will test you, but it will transform you. Because every time you push past your feelings and follow through anyway, you're building a new identity, a stronger you, a version of yourself that doesn't fold under pressure, doesn't fall for temptation, and doesn't need external validation to move forward. That's where your power is, in your ability to stay locked in when everything around you tries to pull you off track. The elite aren't perfect. They just don't negotiate with weakness. They don't reason with excuses. They stay loyal to the mission even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when no one understands. Because they're not chasing approval, they're chasing excellence. Discipline is the edge no one talks about. You won't always be the fastest, you won't always be the smartest, but if you are the most disciplined, you become the most dangerous. Because you can outlast anyone. You can outwork anyone. And in the long game, the disciplined always rise. So don't fall for the trap of hype. Build habits. Don't chase sparks. Build structure. Because hype fades, but habits remain. Talent may give you a head start, but discipline takes you across the finish line. Every single time. Let others talk, let others drift. You lock in, execute, repeat. Because discipline isn't just something you do, it's something you become. You can have all the talent, all the vision, all the determination in the world, but if your environment is toxic, you will suffocate. It doesn't matter how strong your mindset is, if you're constantly surrounded by mediocrity, negativity, and distraction, your growth will be stunted. You are not just shaped by what's inside of you, you are shaped by what surrounds you. Your environment isn't just physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual. It's the conversations you engage in. It's the voices you listen to. It's the energy in your space. The people around you are either fueling your fire or draining your drive. There is no neutral ground. They're either pushing you forward or pulling you down. That's why you must guard your environment like your destiny depends on it, because it does. You can't elevate your life while staying in environments that keep you small. You can't build an elite mindset while entertaining low-level energy. You can't chase greatness while surrounded by people who settle for average. And yet, that's exactly where so many people get stuck. They stay loyal to environments that are toxic to their future. Comfortable friendships, familiar routines, unspoken agreements to stay small so no one feels challenged. You cannot grow if you're afraid to outgrow. You cannot level up if you're worried about who might feel left behind. The truth is, not everyone can come with you. Not everyone should come with you. And if you keep dragging dead weight into your destiny, it's not going to slow them down, it's going to kill you. You've got to start asking some hard questions. Who around you is speaking life into you? Who's challenging you to be better? Who's reminding you of your greatness when you forget? Who holds you accountable when your habits slip? If the answer is no one, then you've got work to do. Not just internally, but externally. Build an environment that matches your ambition. Curate a circle that mirrors your commitment. Surround yourself with people who are going somewhere, people who think bigger, dream louder, and grind harder. People who don't get intimidated by your progress, but inspired by it. People who don't gossip, they grow. They don't hate, they hustle. They don't criticize, they build. And it's not just about people. What do you consume every day? What are you watching, listening to, feeding your mind with? Because every bit of content you absorb is shaping your perspective. If all you consume is entertainment, comparison, and distraction, don't be surprised when your life lacks purpose, power, and focus. You can't binge chaos and expect clarity. You can't feed yourself junk and expect to produce gold. You've got to detox your environment like your future depends on it, because it does. Clean out the noise. Block out the distractions. Shut down the energy that doesn't align with where you're going. Don't just remove what's toxic, replace it with what's transformational. Put yourself in rooms where you're not the smartest, where your grind is challenged, where your standards are tested, where your vision is stretched. And let's be honest, it won't feel comfortable. Growth never does. Changing your environment means leaving behind comfort zones. It means disappointing people who expected you to stay the same. It means walking away from tables where small talk is the main course. But let me tell you, those small tables can't hold big dreams. And if your dream can't breathe in that space, then it's not your space. You've got to be ruthless with your environment. If it doesn't inspire you, it has no place around you. If it doesn't align with your goals, it's a distraction. If it doesn't challenge you to rise, it's holding you back. Protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. Your peace is your power source, and anything that disturbs it is robbing you of energy that should be used for building your legacy. Now hear this, you don't rise to the level of your potential, you rise to the level of your environment. You could be one room away from your breakthrough, one conversation away from a complete mindset shift, one connection away from stepping into a version of yourself that you didn't even know existed. But you'll never find it if you keep entertaining the same cycles, the same people, the same distractions. Your environment either feeds your greatness or fuels your excuses. If you're around people who constantly complain, eventually you'll normalize misery. If you're around people who talk big but move small, eventually you'll settle too. But if you're around people who take action, stay disciplined, think limitless, you'll rise with them. Energy is contagious. So is excellence. This is why the elite are so selective. They don't just let anyone speak into their life. They don't hang out just to kill time. They don't waste energy on spaces that don't serve their purpose. They know one wrong influence can knock them off course. One seed of doubt can corrupt years of confidence. So they protect the soil. They only plant where it can grow. That's how legacy is built. And maybe you've been struggling, not because you lack ability, but because your environment is misaligned. Maybe you've been stuck because you're surrounded by people who talk about everything except purpose. Maybe your space is cluttered with distractions that pull your focus. Maybe your light is dimming because you're standing in a room with no windows and no oxygen. It's time to move. Move toward clarity, move toward alignment, move toward environments that demand your greatness. Don't stay where you're tolerated, go where you're elevated. That's the difference between surviving and thriving, between potential and performance, between dreaming and doing. If you're serious about joining the top 1%, this can't just be a motivational moment. It has to be a lifestyle shift. You've got to rewire your atmosphere, rebuild your circle, reinforce your boundaries, raise your standard for what you allow around your life. Because the truth is, no matter how talented you are, your environment is either planting seeds of progress or poisoning your potential. So ask yourself right now, is your environment feeding your greatness or starving it? You don't land in the top 1% by luck. You don't stumble into greatness. You don't casually walk into elite status. You fight for it. You bleed for it. You show up day after day after day, long after the mood is gone and the motivation has faded, because what separates the great from the average is not dreams, it's execution. Massive action isn't a buzzword, it's the requirement. You want to build something extraordinary? You want to be the best in your field? You want to break generational curses and live a life few ever experience? Then you better be ready to do what few are willing to do. And that starts with massive, relentless, unapologetic action. Ideas are cheap, plans are easy, talking is free, but action, massive action, that's where the price is paid. And the cost is everything. Your time, your energy, your comfort, your convenience, your excuses. The top 1% didn't get there by taking it easy. They got there by going all in, not halfway, not when it was easy, not just when the conditions were perfect. They moved even when it hurt. They acted even when it was hard, because action is what separates the inspired from the impactful. You can be hyped all day. You can visualize success, speak affirmations, dream big. But if you don't move, if you don't build, if you don't grind, it means nothing. At some point, you've got to stop planning and start pushing. Stop hoping and start hustling. Massive action doesn't mean doing random things. It means focused, high-level, strategic movement, executed with urgency, executed with discipline, executed with obsession. You don't dabble your way into greatness, you dominate your way in. You don't take one shot, you fire every single day until the door cracks open. You want to know why most people never hit the top 1%? It's not lack of talent, it's not lack of knowledge, it's not even lack of opportunity, it's lack of follow-through. They start fast, but they quit quick. They're consistent for a week, then disappear for a month. But elite performance, that lives in the trenches, in the grind no one sees, in the relentless repetition that compounds day by day until it explodes. Massive action is the antidote to fear, to doubt, to insecurity. The more you move, the smaller your fear becomes. The more you execute, the less room your excuses have to live. Action kills overthinking. Action destroys procrastination. Action builds confidence. Not the fake kind you post online, the real kind that comes from knowing you did the work. You've got to get to a place where your standards demand action from you, where rest feels earned and laziness feels like betrayal, where you stop negotiating with mediocrity and start moving with purpose. You've got to set fire to the things that slow you down, distractions, laziness, perfectionism, fear of failure, and move anyway. Clarity comes through motion. Results come through motion. Massive action also requires massive sacrifice. You don't get to scroll for hours and dominate the game. You don't get to binge mediocrity and perform at an elite level. You've got to say no to the easy road, no to the opinions of small minds, no to the comfort that's been quietly killing your ambition, because every yes to distraction is a no to your destiny. There's a war going on between the version of you that settles and the version of you that rises. And action is the only weapon that wins that war. Not talking, not hoping, not waiting, doing, moving, grinding. The top 1% live different because they move different. They don't clock out after 8 hours. They chase impact until the job is done. They don't wait for someone to hand them the opportunity, they create it. They don't get ready, they stay ready. While others are dreaming, they're doing. While others are watching, they're working. And listen closely. You don't need everything figured out to take action. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need everyone to support you. You don't need a perfect start. You just need to start. Because momentum builds from movement, not from perfection. Massive action is how you separate yourself in a world full of hesitation. While others are thinking about it, you're already doing it. While others are talking about what they're going to build, you're stacking bricks. While others are making excuses, you're making progress. And yes, it will be hard. There will be days you're tired, days you question yourself, days you don't feel like it. But massive action isn't based on how you feel. It's based on what you decided. You don't wait to feel ready. You act like it's already yours. You move like you've already claimed the throne. Because let's be clear, the life you want isn't coming to you just because you want it bad enough. It's coming to the one who works for it, who earns it, who sweats for it. You want a life of freedom? Pay the price. You want to impact the world? Show the world your work ethic. You want to stand in the rare air of the top 1%? Then your grind has to be rare. Your consistency has to be uncommon. Your mindset has to be unshakable. The world is watching. Your legacy is watching. The future version of you is watching, waiting, begging you to move. You have the vision. You have the ability. What you need now is the discipline to move with intensity every day, every hour, until the gap between where you are and where you want to be has no choice but to close. You've waited long enough. You've dreamed long enough. You've planned long enough. Now it's time to move. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because massive action isn't just a concept, it's a commitment. And if you make that commitment today, if you decide that from this moment forward you will move like your life depends on it, then you've already separated yourself from 99% of the world. Because talk is common, hope is common, but massive action, that's rare, that's elite, that's the entry fee for the top 1%.